What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Gran Jefe. Get ready for another episode of Unpopular Opinion. Today is sunny Friday out here in El Paso. I'm joined as always by my co-host, OG Rowe, in the great state of Washington. What's going on, bro?
Good morning. How you doing this
Man,
morning, brother?
Another day, man.
Another day,
It is Friday.
and it's Friday. So, you know what time it is. It's time to turn up. It's time to turn
let's
up,
get
man.
these game picks up out the way. But we're going to do that a little bit later on in the show. We have an interview, a weekly Friday interview with Michel Buchheister of Mornings with Mike and the Just for Clicks podcast. Also, man, let's just I thank you guys for having you listen to the podcast. If you listen to Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Spreaker. We thank you, YouTube. Make sure that you give us a like, subscribe to the podcast. That way you know every time we post a show, it'll alert you, let you know that we got some in the hole. But let's go ahead and kick this show off, man. Antonio Brown has been back in the news. Art Rooney, who is the owner or the team president of the Pittsburgh Steelers, when asked about Antonio Brown being on the roster for camp next year, he said it's hard to envision Antonio Brown still being on the team for camp. They will not release him, though, but he did say, in quote, all other options are on the table regarding his future with the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's your overall thoughts? Do you see this? Do you think that this is for real, or do you think they just throwing this name out there to see if they can get some form, or do you really think that they are gonna trade him?
Like everything in football is a strategy, you know. They know the draft is coming up. They're putting it out there. Hey, AB is available. All options on the table, but we will not release this guy. So that tells me they really want some real trade value for Antonio Brown. And I'm thinking it's going to be first-round draft picks. That's what they're going to want for this guy. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know what team really wants him, but I can imagine every team is like, oh, AB is probably about to be available. Let's see if we can get this guy, because AB is an incredible talent. So who wouldn't want AB on their team?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that he will be on the that they will be looking for trade options to trade him. You just don't do what you did when you're Antonio Brown and expect to be back on the team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. If we know anything about the Pittsburgh Steelers, we know that they are not a me type team. It's a team effort. You know, they did get rid of Emmanuel Sanders. They did get rid of Martavis Bryant. They did get rid of Mike Wallace. So who's to say that they're not going to get rid of Antonio Brown? Le'Veon Bell is not going to be there. Go ahead.
And AB is such an impactful player. You know, he does a lot on the offensive side of the ball. And for them to lose him, they're going to need, you know, someone to fulfill that role he played in order, you know, to make it back to a spot that they once were, because I don't believe they can make the playoffs with just Juju
and James
on their
Conner
team as their offensive weapon and James Conner. I don't see that happening. Like, Steelers fans, they should be very upset right now, because not only did you lose Le'Veon Bell, but you lost Antonio Brown. You're losing Antonio Brown as well. So, as a Steelers fan, I definitely feel that pain. I can sympathize with them. This is not good for the Steelers organization. I believe losing the star receiver, you're getting, a first-round draft pick? It could be a first-round draft pick, you know, like Kevin White, who was a bust for the Chicago Bears. So they got to be careful with this. Really careful.
You just can't take anything for a guy like Antonio Brown. But I sure will hope that he could come over to my Cleveland Browns. I think that'll help Baker. That'll help Jarvis Landry out, Njoku, Higgins, Callaway.
You always want somebody for the Browns. See, there we go again.
I'm just saying, because, you know, Jarvis Landry put out a picture about a week ago, you know, and he basically said, you know, time will tell. And Antonio Brown and Le'Veon both comment on that picture. I don't know. You know, all these guys are friends, so maybe you don't read too much into it. But if there's a possibility of that we can get one out of the two, I definitely think that we should go ahead and pull the trigger. That'll help Freddie Kitchens out a lot as well. But y'all know what today is. Today is Friday. We got football tomorrow, and we got football on Sunday. we're gonna go ahead and before we get the interview in with Michael Buchheister, we're gonna go ahead and get these game picks on up out the way, so that way we can just go ahead and talk, real football with Mike. So we're gonna start with the Saturday game tomorrow, the early game, 2:35 over here on my side of the world, 4:35 Eastern. Colts and Chiefs, who you got?
I got the Colts for this one. I really like what the Colts did against the Texans. They basically eliminated their defense, and then they eliminated their star receiver. So if they can do this with Patrick Mahomes and just go out and get 3 or 4 stops, and give the ball to Andrew Luck, and, the Chiefs, they already do not have defense. So I believe Andrew Luck will be able to put up at least 35 points on them with ease, just because they won't be able to get to him. And he's so comfortable behind his line. I see the Colts winning this
I'm
one.
going to go on the other side of the spectrum. I got the Kansas City Chiefs. And I got the Kansas City Chiefs because they got the MVP of the league. I don't see how this Colts defense stopped Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. This is going to be a different ball game than what they faced last weekend in Houston. Yes, Kansas City defense is bad. Eric Berry will not be there. But this Kansas City Chiefs team, you're going to have to be able to score some points. And 21 points is not going to get it done. Now, I do believe that they can get in that 30 range against this Kansas City Chiefs defense, but that's what they're going to need. And they're going to need every bit of it. And if they hop out to a lead, which I could easily see the Colts hopping out to a 10-0 lead, 14-0 lead, or 13-0 lead, and getting kind of relaxed, and you cannot do that. Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that against the Chiefs. They will murder you
exactly.
if you did that.
Patrick Mahomes showed you against Tom Brady that you cannot do that. Tom Brady and the New England Patriots was killing him at home in Foxborough, and what did he do? He come back and he made that a game. I got the Chiefs winning this one in a close one, maybe by 7 to 10 points, but I got the Chiefs in a close one at home.
Dad, I tried. Dad, just look, if you're listening right, I tried.
Now everything gets set
up
for the
coach. Billy onto this
everything
wagon.
gets set up for the coach. When you think about it, right? Since 1994, the Kansas City Chiefs are 1-10 in the playoffs, 0-5 at Arrowhead. So things are definitely not looking up for them. And the last time that these two teams played with Alex Smith, they jumped out to a huge lead on the Colts. And what happened? They kind of got relaxed. The Colts came back, they made the game, and they actually won that game. So, by no means is it just the Kansas City Chiefs game to lose. The Colts is one of the hottest teams in football, and it's going to be a fight.
All right, it's
going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight. I just think the Colts is going to have to score points. They're going to have to.
Yeah, they're going to have to score.
You can't bring that same performance out that you did last time. But I can easily see the Chiefs losing this game. That's why the line is only 5.5 points. But moving on to that Saturday night game, we got the Colts and the Rams. The Rams are a 7-point favorite over the Cowboys. Who you got in this game?
I'm gonna take the Rams just because I don't like the Cowboys. And again, the Rams offense, they're rested. They got good players coming back. They got, that big beast in the backfield that no one seems to be able to hold down. He was my fantasy running back. And let me just tell you, he did miracles for me. And then they also got C.J. Anderson backing that beast up. So, man, I really like the Rams' chances. If they can get that run game going and get that play action going, I believe they will just destroy the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are actually waiting to happen. So I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to be honest with you though. This game really scares me honestly because the Cowboys could be a scary team. They don't have to. Their weakness is Dak Prescott, and they really don't even have to put him on display that much. When you think about what the Cowboys like to do, they like to play defense and they like to run the ball with Zeke and they like to dink and dunk. All things that don't make Dak Prescott the focal point. But when he has to start throwing balls 15 plus yards down the field, that's when he tends to struggle. So what I'm looking for, a heavy dose of Zeke. I just don't think it'll be enough because I don't think we're going to see the same Sean McVay that we saw down the stretch of the season that didn't give Todd Gurley carries. Only gave him 10 carries against the Bears. I think that hurt them. Came out the very next week, gave him 10 more carries. You cannot do that. I want to see the Sean McVay that went out and gave Todd Gurley about 30 touches total, about 15 to 17 carries on the ground, sometimes 20 with 8 or 9 catches. That's the Todd Gurley I think that we will have to see in order for them to beat the Cowboys, because you don't want to get behind and have the Cowboys be able to pin their nose back and just go straight after Jared Goff and Dak be able to run the clock out.
And maybe what Sean McVay was doing, maybe it was strategical, because if you look at it, he started reducing this man's carries, and then, you got Todd Gurley on your injury report. So maybe it was strategical. Maybe he said, maybe we got to get this, because he started the season out like a animal, dude. Like, they could not stop Todd Gurley.
He was the MVP of the league.
He was the MVP of the league before, all of that had happened. And so maybe it was strategical. Maybe Sean McVay said, okay, I'm gonna just give him less carries. Maybe we can get him back to a healthier him. And that's what I think it was, man. Because if you look at it, he's coming back for these playoffs. It's going to be, dude. It's gonna be crazy.
If we see that Todd Gurley, I think we're going to see a Rams win. So just like you, I do have the Rams winning that game against the Cowboys on Saturday. Moving on to the Sunday game, we got the Chargers and the Patriots is the early morning game. New England is a 4-point favorite at home over the Chargers. Who you got and why?
I got New England. It's one player and coach you don't bet against. That's the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. You don't bet against them in any game, especially when you're deep in the postseason. That's something you just don't do. Tom Brady is going to come out like a madman, I believe, and just destroy that Chargers defense. And once Tom Brady get about 14 points on the board just from passing, I believe that defense is going to lose a little confidence, because what he's able to do in that pocket behind his offensive line with minimum weapons is just amazing, man.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see it.
I get it. And I would normally be on that side of the table as well, saying you just don't bet against Bill Belichick and Tom Brady deep in the postseason at home in Foxborough. But I think this is going to be a different situation. I picked it. The Chargers was my pick in the AFC to make it to the Super Bowl. I'm still going to continue to ride that wave. I think they get it done. I think Derwin James have a big game. He's playing around the line of scrimmage a lot. Tom Brady's immobility could be his downfall in this game. Derwin James will be coming off the right side. He'll be coming off the left side. He'll be at linebacker. He'll be at defensive end.
So
go ahead.
So there's reports of weather for this New England game. New England, they're used to the cold. This is what they do. They play in the cold. The Chargers, on the other hand, they don't play in the cold.
There's been conflicting reports, man, because I've seen some where it says they're supposed to get a few inches of snow, and then I've seen some where it says it's supposed to be 35 degrees and sunny tomorrow. So I don't know, but to your point, weather, definitely has to give the advantage to New England there.
Yeah, so I do believe that weather would get an advantage to New England, only because the Chargers, they don't play in the cold. We seen what happened to the Rams when they came to play the Bears in the cold.
But I will say this.
That weather is no joke.
What they do better on offense really helps the Chargers as far as the weather, meaning they want to run the ball. Phillip Rivers is nice. Phillip Rivers made it to the Pro Bowl, but Melvin Gordon could have easily made it to the Pro Bowl as well had he not gotten hurt. So
right.
And he's from Wisconsin. It's pretty cold up there. He's used to running in that cold. So I think, it's going to affect him a little bit, but the speed is still going to be there. And I just think the Chargers are the better team right now, offensively and defensively. And I think they get it done in a tough fought game in Foxborough. It will not be easy. Nobody just go in there in the playoffs and just kill Belichick and Brady. I don't see that happening.
If Brady were to lose this game, what do you see? What moves do you see? The Patriots making next year?
I think they go get a quarterback for sure in the third round at least. Brady's 41 years old. You can't just can't not keep picking quarterbacks just because you don't want to hurt his feelings, because that's basically what it comes down to. They don't want to draft a quarterback because they don't want Brady to get in his feelings. That's the reason why they traded away Jimmy Garoppolo. But if I know Bill Belichick like I know Bill Belichick, he's either going to go offensive line or he's going to go defense. I think if they shore up that defense, I think Tom Brady could play 3 or 4 more years, and you won't really have to worry about him being in the way as long as you have a defense that he can fall back on. That's always been his calling card. They never had the weapons on offense, but they've always had a good defense. They had stars on defense to kind of help those shortcomings where they fell at on offense. So if I know Bill Belichick, I think he'll definitely go defense.
Could we see AB in the Patriots uniform?
Nah, I don't think he's Belichick's speed. He's one of those, to the media, the me guys, and Belichick don't really like egos like that. He takes he takes the troubled players, but he doesn't take guys with egos. Randy Moss was trouble, but Randy Moss, you couldn't pass up on a Randy Moss. But I think Antonio Brown has a little bit too much more ego for Bill Belichick liking. He's going to be wanting the ball all the time, and that's never been Belichick. We're going to do what the game dictates. If that's running the ball 40 times a game, or if that's throwing the ball with Brady 40 times a game, I don't think that's Antonio Brown's lane.
Okay, I got you.
Moving on to the final game of the divisional round, the Saints and the Eagles. The Saints are an 8-point favorite. This is the biggest line of all the teams playing in the divisional round. Who you got? Saints, Eagles?
I got the Saints in that dome, and I want the Eagles to lose just because they beat my Bears, by the way. I want them to lose. I want every Eagle fan to feel the same heartbreak that I felt. But here it is, though, because, that Saints offense is potent. And what I seen from the Eagles defense against, my Bears, I don't think they can hang with that offense over there in New Orleans. You got the running backs. You got Alvin Kamara. You got big old Ingram in that backfield. And it's going to be hard to stop that, man, because you got power. Ingram's a power back, so he'll hit that hole and make you feel something. Then Kamara hit it, and he'll turn the Jets on you. So, and you got running backs that can catch out the backfield as well, as long as we're deep ball receivers. So it's going to be a tough game for them. And the Eagles got some really bad cornerbacks. I don't know if people know it, but they have really bad cornerbacks.
Yes, and that's going to be that's the point that I made this morning on RTS Sports Talk. 29 is going to get abused. If Mitchell Trubisky could do that to him with Allen Robinson, imagine what Drew Brees is finna do with Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. It's going to be an onslaught. Drew Brees, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara, about 2 or 3 touchdowns. Mark Ingram, I think, will have at least 1 touchdown on the ground. I don't see how they're going to stop this. Now, I think Nick Foles is probably going to have a good game, too, because the Saints' defense has been a little bit iffy, this whole season, but they're playing in the dome. Drew Brees and Sean Payton hasn't lost together in that dome. I don't think that, and I don't see it happening right now against the Eagles. They've had a good run. Foles' magic has ran out. I think he go somewhere and get him a big contract in the offseason because they don't want that quarterback controversy between him and Wentz. But I think the magic has ran out. I got the Saints as well. I got the Saints just like the line here. This is probably going to be the most lopsided. I got the Saints by at least 17 in this game. I don't even think it's going to be close, honestly.
Yeah, I don't really think it's going to be that close. And I'm really, really hoping Philadelphia loses. They talk so much. Their fans talk so much trash.
Yeah, they the worst. They the worst fans, too, and
lose.
they only got one freaking Super Bowl, and it just happened to be last year.
Out there eating poop off the sidewalk. They just, man, Eagle fans. I'm sick of y'all.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck.
I think the buck stops here. I think Drew Brees get easily. I think Drew Brees is the man in this game. That's going to be it for the NFL picks. Coming right up after the break, we got Michael Buchheister just for Clicks Mornings with Mike podcast right after the break. See you guys when we return.